Hello, hello, hello. I'm Dan Lutz, and welcome to another broadcast of WWG1WGA.LOVE, where we go one, we go all.love. Welcome. This is a interesting day for me. I've been in technology. Also, I've got a visitor, CASA. I basically post the link for the Hangouts here in the WWG1WGA.LOVE Telegram group. If you look for the link, it's down below in the description. So how's it going?
Good. It's actually Casa Arturo. It just means Art's house, you know.
I see.
So I'm Art.
That kind of Casa.
Yeah, that kind of Casa.
You Casa. Sorry.
Sí, mi casa.
Yeah. So thank you for joining in. How's it going today?
Well, very good. You know, I've been watching you. I usually, put my name in and such and say hi and good moments and all that. But and give the likes, of course. But the last few times I tuned in, I didn't leave my name being in there. But I was there. Just to let you know, I was there.
Thank you for giving likes. Thumbs up to you.
Yes. Oh yeah. I don't understand how we can have so many people in the chat and watching, and yet nobody pushes a button. I don't get it.
It's one of those things that say, "Oh yeah, I'll do that. Just wait a minute," and then they forget about it. I'm sure.
Yeah. Well.
I'm sure if the thing is if they put it in so that you could actually just think about it and then have it happen, then they would be inside our brain.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, and they fly airplanes like that too. So, it's possible. It is
They do.
possible.
They do.
They do.
They do have and I when I went over the quantum financial system, I was really going how quantum computing works, and I wanted to actually draw the picture that you literally can control computers by thinking. And
Wow.
it's not something that is, you're not going to go down to the Apple store and pick up an iPhone that can, read your mind yet.
But it does want that. I don't think I would want that.
It's the technology is already there in the phones, believe it or not. There's a lot of sensors and things that are actually in these phones that are not implemented right now. But they do use them in testing scenarios. But this, the technology for just thought, to control a computer, has been around since the 80s. I've seen some of it myself. I also know the first instance of it was the inventor of Atari. If you remember Atari systems.
Oh yeah.
After he sold Atari, he ended up creating. He went into that development. He actually developed a ring that you wore on your finger, and then you would sit in front of the computer. You train your mind to control what was on the screen. It was just two sides of the screen, a black side and a white side, and you just had to flip them, right? And when you're good at flipping them this way, then they put 4, and you had to flip the colors this way, that way. And once you got that control down, then they brought you up to tic-tac-toe.
Oh, oh wow.
So you literally could play tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, a couple of things I wanted to mention. I had called in today because to Tank's show earlier, and it was supposed to start at 5 California time. Is that correct? Am I?
I think it's actually 5. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, that would be it. I think so.
Because it starts at 8 for him, correct?
Yeah. Right. So 3 hours difference.
Okay.
Correct.
Right. So I wasn't able to get on. I guess I don't know if they're on the air. I can't, hear it.
Yeah, I don't know because I don't catch it at that time because
you overlap.
and then I overlap, and so then I would miss my start. I thought of changing the time, but I thought it was good to keep consistent with the timing. At least try to do it in this time range. And then like going earlier would not work out, as then I'm asleep.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. It's morning for you. Well, I don't like to use the morning word lately.
Yeah,
because
of you.
Say
good morning. I say good moments because I'm trying not to use those words that are representing death.
Yes. Yeah. But the dog has a problem with it.
Yes. Hey, hang on one second.
Okay. I guess he's going to take care of the dog. Well, we're hanging on. It's he's sure giving Tui's rooster a run for his money. The dog was as loud as the rooster, definitely speaking his mind. Probably wanted to go out and have a good time like all dogs do, or have some business to do, so I don't see him there. So I'll just, I guess if we're still, I don't know, I guess I'm the only one here except for all of you. So CASA ARTURO is the screen that comes up, but I'm Art Anthony. So there he's back. I was doing a little fill-in for you.
Co-hosting.
Yeah, I was filling in. Yeah. I was. Did you hear it? I was saying that your dog was competition for Tui's rooster.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Well, he's can be very vocal if someone just, walks close. I'm trying to train him not to, just, decide he's going to bark at any time. I trained my first dog. She was very intuitive, and only if it was a bad person, which
that's good.
Yeah. So she
let
had
you know there's bad energy coming. Yes. Yes. That's good.
It's, and then like when she does bark, then it was like, oh, you better take note.
Yeah. Right? Not fooling around. Hey, I'm wondering something. So you were talking about a couple of things, and the stuff that's in the phone that's been there for a while, that because I've had some haunted phones, believe it or not. I mean, really haunted. I would set it down and then I would watch it dial somebody. It would just dial somebody, and all by itself. Mm-hmm. I didn't ask it to. And so I've had haunted phones.
I'm going to say you do ask me to.
Yeah, I've changed phones often because eventually they get haunted again. I don't know why.
So it's you.
It's me.
It is. It's basically what we were discussing. It's your mental or your aura, even being able to influence electronics.
So I can take the NSA off the table now. I don't have to worry about the NSA making those calls. It was me all the time.
You can stop them. Yeah, so you just got to practice. So, well, it does. It's more widespread than people know that how much you can affect the electronics around you.
Wow.
I had let's say counseled a few people over the years that we're always having tremendous problems with their electronics. And in each case, for the most part, I could say that they were having a part to say in how that happened. And it's neither a good nor bad thing, really. It's just that it's a recognition of our influence. And even when I was just discussing this technology that ended up going into the military for use of controlling pilots on targeting systems or flying systems, because you can just think where you want to go and the plane would go there, perform the maneuver in your head, and it actually executes faster than you can move your arms and fingers to make things happen. But literally, we have impact over electrons, right? When that's all we're talking about.
That is true.
Is the flipping of some energy inside the these devices, and I remember one very good photographer, great professional photographer friend of mine, and he had some anger issues, and when I would watch him approach the computer, and nothing would function. He couldn't. Nothing would open. Things would freeze. The whole thing. And literally, it was his energy what was really just shutting down the computer.
Wow. And it probably compounded with his frustration.
Yeah, it adds. Yeah, definitely, and it builds and builds and builds. There was others I would see. There was I remember way back in the beginning of time for me in electronics and engineer, I was actually working in a computer repair shop when I was like 20 years old, something like that. And the store manager fancied himself a technician, right? And but literally, he would break the computers by just approaching them. And he worked in a computer shop, so it was very funny. But this stuff I've seen it throughout my life where this has occurred. I even tried some experimental things, telling people, well, I tell you, this is what you got to do. You got to get a bowl of sand and put it in front of the computer, and you pray to the gods of silicon.
It makes perfect sense.
And just have a peaceful relationship with the silicon.
And well, I grew up. I grew up for as long as I can remember, when I would go down the street, and even when I was able to drive and I was a little older, and so we're talking child all the way up, but street lights would go out the minute I got close to them, whether I was walking or driving, and I could go around the block and then go back on, then go back out. So, electronics are screwy around me, I guess.
Yeah, and it is, again, as I said, it's more widespread, but people will push it off and say it's not them, right, affecting it. They will say that there's just something wrong with that device, it's malfunction, but not really attributed to them. So it really we have an effect on reality bigger than we know, for the most part, and this is something that is part of realizing what we want out of the world is going to help us move into a place where we're able to create that from our thoughts. We just generate that reality.
Well, if we had the proper education, and by education I don't mean the schools that we grew up with and they're still doing, and it's getting worse. I'm talking about actually cluing kids in on their own energy, and be able to learn how to meditate and be able to use those subtle energies and manifest what they need to in the world. Because there are some amazing children out there. I mean, even watching YouTube the other day, I'm watching 3 and 5-year-olds playing violins and playing concertos. Unbelievable. I can't do that. And I'm not a child, only by heart.
I was baking cookies at the age of 3.
Oh, I love baking myself, but you beat me on the 3.
I became quite a little chef when I was very young. And graduated to actually, I had my own pastry company by the age of 8.
Oh, entrepreneurial, absolutely.
Yeah, I was actually I was literally going up into the mountains around me and would find the wild apple trees and peach trees, and I'd harvest those fruits, and I'd come back and I'd make pies, and I'd sell the pies to the local diners.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I just made a pie the other day from the berries in the yard. So there you go. Blackberry pie. Yeah.
So it's a children, if they're encouraged to do things and supported, then they can do a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember when my son was just an infant, I had him on my lap at the computer, and he'd bang the keyboard like that and see something happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just but children are I think have no barriers to information at that age.
That's true.
Right? We develop barriers as we get older, and what we can't do. No.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That word should be gone. That there are certain words like try and no and things like that. Words very important.
Well, I'll try to use that.
We should just get rid of them. You're right. And mourning. I never thought about that one, because when you're in mourning, it's all about really death. Yeah. I mean, I had somebody.
It's the death of the day, and it's just starting.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, so there's nothing to look forward to. Hey, I'm wondering something. So when you're talking about like the rings, like that would go on a finger, I know they had the rings when that go around the wrist, and they're even trying to do technology now for to advance that, to make that into a phone, for example. But we're talking about blending with the electronics with our mind, not with chips, not with chips in our body, but being able to mind meld with the machine in some fashion where it's actually controllable to some extent, or at least augmented. But I'm wondering, the old Egyptian depictions, the carvings and such, and they always had these little, they always had the little tuning fork kind of thing, and the little pine cone, but they'd have this ring on that almost looked like a wristwatch, But I'm wondering if that was more of an enhancement, a technological enhancement for them
Yeah.
to use
Yeah.
with their
Well,
minds to help with the people and such.
We gravitated towards a Dick Tracy watch. It would be a telephone, a television screen, right? But it's really two-way communication. And we have now the Apple watches and the Android watches. These, we kind of are. It's a natural thing to want to carry the computer along with us, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes they're a little too large, right? And you can't fit this in your
strapping
pocket.
that to your wrist. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can put your cell phone in your pocket, right? But would it be good if it was just on your ring? So
I don't know.
Eventually, when we talk about quantum, we don't really need any apparatus to access a quantum computer. That is the reality. You could literally think it, because where is the quantum computer? Is it literally, like a laptop?
Is it in the ether around us? Is it all information that is within the ether?
So can you construct something in the ether? And that's really what we're talking about accessing is this. Now, I don't think that we're there yet from that standpoint. But we may be. It's a lot of this technology is outside of where we're at. Even the stuff about Teslas. I've been doing some deep dives into some Tesla things recently because of the connection with Trump, and of course, I had a lot of stuff dealing with anti-gravity. I actually, my theory, I was back when I was in my 20s, was instead of E is equal to mc square, E was equal to negative G.
Okay,
now
that's Greek to me. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's basically I was connecting energy and gravity.
Okay.
And one of the recent things that I've seen is that Tesla really had a connection also to saying that gravity was dynamic and was really literally connected to photons, to light. So there was a relation between light and or the photons and magnetism, or gravity rather.
Oh, gravity and magnetism. Yes, I've heard that connection before.
That's it, between the two, you can get the magnetism. Is the point? But when we start thinking about how our minds can interface with say quantum space and affect things, that's what we do in generating reality. So can we literally get to where like in the Matrix films, and Neo was able to just put up his hand and have the bullets drop, right? When he first discovered that he had control over reality. Right. Can we get to that place? And that's really something that is possible. We look at whether it's Indian yogis that were able to materialize things, or the Tibetan monks that can levitate, boulders, right.
Well, they can levitate themselves, or put their hand right into a rock and leave an impression. Yes, yeah. This is
I had a personal experience of actually when I was doing a lot of yoga for about 7 years. I was very much into yoga, and there was a time that I felt so. The word was elated. I mean, I was so floating around. I literally, my physical weight on this planet was changing because I got on and off of a scale, a digital scale, and my weight had changed back and forth. But my daughter got on the scale right next to me, and her weight was the same each time, and we were just both looking at, well, what's, and I was just so really high on the energy of that I was experiencing in yoga that I said, oh, now can this now make sense how yogis can levitate?
Well, you did feel lighter. And we all experience
I feel
that.
lighter, and thus I
Yes.
was.
Yes. When we have good energy, I mean, I hear a nice tune and it lifts me up, and I feel lighter. I feel lighter. So it can affect gravity. I mean, it can affect your weight, I would imagine, because didn't there was an experiment done way back, and I don't recall the name of the fellow, but very famous. You probably know. But he took like a cannonball or something and dropped it, and he weighed it before, and he dropped and he weighed it afterwards, and it had what was considerably less, like 20%, but it came back after a while. Or maybe it
Yeah,
wasn't 20%. It came back after 20 minutes. The weight came back.
yeah.
But
So
it did. It was a measurable amount.
Yeah, I think it's a little more dynamic than what like flipping a switch, the mechanical universe of just flipping a switch. It's either lighter or not. There's a lot of things at play, but I guess when we're talking about manifesting reality, and we're thinking about accessing quantum space and dealing with quantum computers, the aspect of the qubit is that there's all these possibilities, that are instead of a transistor in a computer where we have a 1 and a 0 or a yes or a no, we just it's a binary environment that we have it continually be pretty firm as either positive or negative. It actually creates more something that is stable. But if we have something that is in quantum space, things tend to float, right? They're affected by the people observing them. Their realities are all kind of interfacing with it, and you have this overcome this. So I think that's part of like the Neo effect in Matrix, right? As he went between two realities, right, and he was able to affect in both places affect the world, and that crossover, I think, is something that is, can be experienced, but where we have to get to that place where we can create those realities, and we have to also know where do we want to go. All right, so we have to recognize where we are, and then recognize the steps to get there.
Well, let me ask you a question then. If he's, for example, if he's jumping realities, is he in fact just jumping back and forth in timelines of his timelines? Because those would those not be alternate realities in themselves?
Well, each timeline also interweaves with the other possibilities. So it's more dynamic than literally just moving like this and here and over there. You're literally, remember, even when he was in the other place, he was still in the other place. That what we would say the physical reality was, he was still there in that place. So is there another physical reality, and can you be multiple places at one time? Well, you can look at you throw cloning into the mix and see.
Well, my location isn't exactly cloning, but my location is possible.
But you can have let's say some feedback as to what may be happening to get some stability. Let's say like Dolly the sheep, they cloned her many times, and some of the clones rapidly aged to the current age, so that they basically caught up with themselves.
Were they making a copy of a copy, or were they making a copy of the original?
The original. They had several cloned embryos, and then they each developed separately. There's other cloning experiments. So cloning is existing now. There's stuff now. Is the current Biden, Joe Biden, is he actually a clone now?
Oh, I saw something up that way, and he did look remarkably different in his appearance. The same face, but people can look different just by the attitude in their face. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, they're interesting thoughts, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter how many Hillarys or how many Bidens there are. The thing is that when we're analyzing reality, it kind of can give some different perspective as to what reality is, and help broaden our view. But when we want to, I'm often talking about the abundance based world. What does it look like? And I think it might be good to bring like a council of people together to kind of like discuss like some of these ideas. There's a friend that's been emailing me from Russia, and describing an abundance-based system, and I said, well, this kind of applies what I've been talking with Tui about, is reversing the flow. It's just if you have a whole country, you could literally reverse the flow, and it would actually then, if you think about what is important in the current system, and if you reversed it, right, the importance of the people at the top in this system would basically go down to nothing, and the people at the bottom in the system would go up to the top. Right. In essence, the flow of funds would go to people individually.
They would reverse flow, absolutely, which that makes perfect sense. I have to thank you, Dan, because after listening to your many dissertations about abundance-based systems, things you've been trying to implement and develop, or have developed and trying to implement, I have modeled my CASA ARTURO project based on that abundance system. So I thank you for that, sir.
Oh, well, you can explain that. Why don't you go do it?
Well, I can. I can. Would you like me to?
Yeah. So let's have a deep dive so we can see what we're talking about here.
Okay. Well, CASA ARTURO is a project that I actually started last year. I'm going to move a little bit, and what I did was I'm going to show you here. This is, well, I have to watch to see what we're looking at here, but I actually installed a stage. I live in a guest house, so I, faux painted it and remodeled it, and on a rented house because I'm a silly guy. But my house, my home is my state of mind. I believe that, and so it's very valuable to me. So what I did was I remodeled the place, and then I thought, well, I should share it. And I'm sharing it with you right now, but I should share it. And so I thought perhaps that I would. And so you see, I did, well, those are all faded. That's going to be different. But I did quite a number on the place. But we put in a stage. I had a friend who decided to help me, and he co-sponsored CASA ARTURO for a while. The plane, no, helicopters, here they come.
The plane.
There we go. The plane, the copter. Yeah.
So
he helped me out.
The audience has to be in the pool.
No, the audience wouldn't be in the pool. The audience would be in this area here, in this whole area, and so we just did it across the pool. But the concept was great. I could not find a formula that worked. I mean, I cooked. I had to charge for the bands. I mean, the players, the musicians have to get paid. So basically, the way it ended up working out was that I could either pay for the band or the food, and you always have to pay the guys and gals. So so I would always take a dive on the food. So that was the problem with that formula. So I decided after great thinking and going into that space for that Tank put out there for us to be able to do projects, I thought, well, then I'll restructure it some way that's going to make it work. And I thought back to your many elaborations and different approaches to the same thing. Make it abundance based is a win-win. There's no reason in this world, we have to change this. There's no reason in this world that there should be a winner and a loser. That whole mindset of competition and a winner and a loser is a very bad mindset. Very bad. It's bad for the soul of everybody, because I won, but I might feel bad that I won because you lost. And there's that happening too. There's many dynamics to it. So it's not good for anybody. A win-win is the only way to do it. And so I was very blessed when I presented my project to Tank, and he said, no problem. It sounds like a good project. We're there. So I did the trust. I opened the trust and everything. And so this is the one that I did last year, and we haven't started yet because the funds haven't come through yet. But I've made great headway. I'm going to actually build out the stage more. I'm going to add a whole piano wing with a baby grand piano. So it'll be quite lovely. You see right over there where those chairs are, and my little dish for my birds. That's where another stage will get put. So it's going to build out quite a bit, and we'll get a real roof too. That was just a temporary. I based it on your abundance-based system. Well, at least my version of it.
Okay.
So that everybody wins. Really, everybody wins. And I'm not charging. I'm not going to charge anybody. Okay. I won't charge anybody. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to live stream it, because I've already formed a YouTube channel called CASA ARTURO Events, and we're going to live stream to the world. And I've got 5 cameras. I've got a whole video crew. I've got really professionals. I spent 40 years in the film industry, so I can pull together a crew. But so we've got like 25 people waiting to jump, with set decoration and drapes and the whole deal. I've already had the drapes customized for the stage, the apron and the header and stuff like that. So it's going to be very dynamic. It'll be a 3-hour live stream, 5 camera, 32 track live mix festival show of a festival. And the interesting thing, the other part is, because I'm breaking all the rules on this, Dan. I'm not going to do it like, if you go to the Emmys, let me give you an example. I've been to the Emmys. You go to the Emmys, you sit in the audience, right? And you watch what's going on. And there's cameras here and people getting cued over there. And there's stuff happening over here and cameras are moving over there and lights are getting adjusted, blah, 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 blah. So that's the show. That's the real show. The show they see at home, that's just what the camera, they cut to that camera and that camera. Yeah, no, I'm going to show the real show. So I'll be putting up monitors in the audience too. So
I know. I know what you're doing. I was actually thinking of doing the same thing from like some of the marijuana dispensaries, having the people that were there and doing things and how it operated in the background and live stream it, right, and have that happen. That could be interesting. I haven't done this yet, but YouTube has another feature to add cameras, and I don't know how it functions, but it's there.
Oh, well, I actually have a video director that I brought on board, and so he's going to live cut it. He's going to actually direct the cameras for me. I'm just directing the whole basic thing and producing. But,
I mean, and what we're discussing right now, I mean, I've got my camera in front of me. You've got your camera in front of you, right? And then we can have like 8 people come on and everyone has their one camera. But this is like another camera outside of this that I don't know how it functions and works into a like who controls that? How does
Right. Right.
If maybe a control room or something like that, so you can cut the camera too. Those kind of things.
Right.
So that may be
Somebody's got to switch.
Up.
Yeah,
So,
somebody's got to switch it. Well, that wouldn't help my format because it has to be cut live during the show. You know what I'm saying? To be a good performance.
No, it's meant for cutting live.
Wow.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's.
So
I
must be some piece of hardware. Must be some piece of hardware, software that would help you enable that. I don't know.
Yeah, so it would be just like we're talking now. I've only I spent like 20 minutes looking into it, so I haven't experimented enough to really know how it functions. But it's apparently to me is that you could while something else is going on, you could literally switch it, to someone out in the field or whatever. I don't know how or have it side by side. I don't know all the functionality of it yet, but anyway, something to investigate. It's meant for live performance.
I have to plug my phone in. I just got my.
Oh yeah.
No. The phone said your battery is low. I didn't want it to cut off in the middle of us talking.
Yeah.
So,
no problem. Yeah. You know what I realized?
A little darker on this side.
I'm on battery myself here. I didn't bring my charger out, so I kind of was throwing some things together. My topic for today was about Zuckerberg, and so it was interesting. That there's some letters that have come out from his college days, like from his girlfriend or one of his girlfriends, and is telling the truth and literally that it was stolen technology, and that he's literally a
from the DARPA thing. Yeah, he got signed on. Yeah, well, perhaps it was just a bad clone thing.
Yeah, we'll see. But anyway, it's interesting, what's there, but definitely MK Ultra, drone is what we're dealing with there. So, this is a very good. I'm very happy that you jumped on because this is
thank you.
We've had this kind of conversation, let people know what's going on and how you get your project moving forward, and how to do abundance-based systems. So, I'm in this last email to my Russian friend, I kind of did a quick little completed the circle, and I said, so if you walk into the store in Fiji, right, the shopkeeper will pay you to come in and take the groceries away. So instead of you're paying the grocery shop, they're paying you, right? Well, yeah. So you're going to go there and you're going to pick out what you want, right, and take it with you, right? And the shop owner is going to go to the distributor, and the distributor is going to pay the shop owner for coming and taking goods. And then the distributor is going to go to the manufacturer, and the manufacturer who's making these items is going to pay them to take the goods from the manufacturer. Right.
Completely opposite. Yes.
Yeah. Now, the question is, well, what about the manufacturer? Where does he get the money? Well, he gets it from the government. The government is creating money instead of borrowing money from a bank for some stupid reason. The government creates the cash, and they send it out. But all along the way, though, is there's productivity happening. Even if you're buying something that's being productive. Because you're recognizing the value of the people, that all the wealth is literally in the value of the people. That's what the system uses right now, but they're not the beneficiary, though they're supposed to be the beneficiary of all of this wealth because it's coming from the people. But now if you flip it around, it doesn't go to the top of the pyramid, it goes to the individuals, and it's obviously it's very strange, but this productivity, this action is counted and then gives the authority for the government to print more cash.
Well, you know what? I think that that's something Kim would get behind. Would she not? And
Well,
be able to
I'm sure that this,
to give to the governments for that purpose. Because
yeah.
they're rascals. You've got to watch them. You give them money, they put it on other spots. But
listen, it's going to be hard to break this cycle in the people's heads about gathering money. So let's say that you're in the situation, you went into the store and you're gathering money. Everything you go and buy, quiet quote unquote, you're not just buying, you're actually getting. So now your coffers are filling up. Well, how does the money leave from your hands? Well, let's say that you want to go work somewhere. You pay the employer to work there. Wouldn't you pay for a good job then?
It reminds me of when I used to sing jazz and all the in this town, and all the singers who came and sat in at jams, you would be a musical jam. They would actually pay to get in, pay to have a couple of drinks or dinner or whatever, and then they'd sing a song or two. So they would pay to play, and it's the same kind of concept. They pay to play.
Yeah, well,
but not in the nefarious sense.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, so it is definitely pay to play, but pay to work. So, wouldn't you want to move your money to where you want to work instead of having to work and receiving money?
That's interesting.
Well, what if you also wanted to set up a business? You have all this cash gathering, right? Yeah. All right. You're going to pay people to come to your business.
Yeah, you want to make stuff and you want to make sure it has nice homes.
Right.
It's sort of like you put your stuff up for adoption. You make the product and you adopt it out. It's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely it's going to cause some and I can actually see how this is going to be very difficult for people, right, to grasp. But here's an important thing. We could literally run both of these systems side by side.
How's that? I'm not following that.
We both you not only do you go in and receive money from the store owner for doing things, right? But you also pay in the old money. So let's look at it as two different kinds of money: debt-based money and abundance-based money. So you can literally run both at the same time. As it expands out, though, it will. Which one would be more preferable? Which one would people prefer to start using? And at some point, they're running the other debt-based system, and they start figuring out, well, why? why am I still participating? I don't want to do that anymore, right?
Yeah.
So you could literally run both simultaneously, and you just have.
Wouldn't it just wash each other out? I mean, would they not cancel each other out?
But you have two different kinds of money, remember?
Right.
So so you literally, one's gathering, like the store owner is still gathering debt-based money, but the people are gathering abundance-based money. But the debt-based money is vanishing, right? As it becomes harder and harder to get a hold of. Right. Especially if you have a lot of abundance, why do you want debt?
Yeah, nobody would want that. They'd all paid it off and not use it anymore.
A year where people would be running both simultaneously, maybe 2 years. Who knows? But it didn't matter. It would just literally just phase itself out.
Yeah. Yeah. Just by natural selection.
Yeah. One is more preferable, one everyone's happy with.
Would that be like a Darwinian financial kind of approach?
Well, I guess you could say that there's some natural selection there. I'd want to naturally select the one that's going to be more beneficial for me. But in the meantime, you can deal with both, and eventually, now of course, now the banks have a role to play in this, right? And as well as the government, and how there would have to be ability for both to function at the same time, and meaning that you'd be able to literally exchange them in a way. But it's all comes down to these societies creating a productive environment for people. A lot of people will want to make, let's say, bad claims against humanity. Oh, if you had this, no one would work, right? No one would want to do anything. Everyone would become fat and lazy. There would be, no, there would just be, apathy and so. But I don't think that at all. I literally think
I'm with you. I don't think so in the least, Dan, because I'm retired. Okay, I retired because for a number of reasons, but I retired a little early at 62, not by choice. I told the cosmos I wanted to retire early at 62 when I was 60, and at 62 I broke a kneecap, so I had to retire. I was specificity. That's the key. That's the key to the universe. Specificity. I didn't say no pain, please. So I did get exactly what I asked for. But the whole point of that was that I'm retired. And so because of that, I do mostly things that I love to do and I have passion for. And so like the CASA ARTURO, and like decorating and doing whatever, and having music around us and giving it to the people is a passion that I have. Well, it's a mission, really.
Well, look at retiring as the same as adding new types of tread to the tire.
Oh yeah, well, I've added a lot of tread to this tire. I'm much happier now. I'm more healthy now than I was when I was working. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, in this world, and no matter what, I think that we have percentage of the population by programmed nature's programming that a certain number of the people are going to be engineers, certain amount are going to be workers that are just work and work and work, and some are going to be very lazy and not want to do anything, and some are going to want to be musicians, and some are going to want to be artists, and some are going to want to be chemists, and I think that if the system is set up to where people are rewarded because they pursue their happiness, right. They get more, and they adding to society in this way. Even the people that are just breathing, are contributing,
get paid in to breathe. Yes, I hear you.
Well, they get to also, instead of being the useless eaters of the planet, right? People that are eating, could make their career about eating, or they could make their career about not participating. In a way, but just and allow those things to occur, and sometimes that will increase, in this category and other categories, and it will basically, I think, evolve to more of a everyone's more energized to do what they want. And
yes, you know what? I don't see people laying around on the couch like I'm sitting on the couch now, but telling but I know you see me laying around the couch, but I don't see people laying around the couch for, extended periods of time and just being lazy, because people inherently want to do the things they love to do. They just, most of them don't know what the heck it is. They just don't know what it is.
And they're trapped, right? Because they're it's trapped. Very difficult. If they want to participate in the money game, right, they have to basically trounce people. They have to, put people down in order to get into that position of getting more. And that's something I think is not necessary. And Fiji should be a wonderful place to try this out.
Yeah, well, it would be great to have a place to exemplify it in the world, and that's an ideal place. So I'm wishing them the best of all of that. And like Tui said, I mean, he wants it to be a place where people can come from all over and come for healing and come to change their paradigm and wake up from all this trickery that we've had put upon us. We've been hijacked. Our free will has been hijacked, and we have just been used. And there's nothing useless about us.
Sorry, I just want to say that I tweet the link in case Tui wants to jump on and have, since we're kind of talking around him. So I said, well, throw the link out. Maybe listening. Having at least a more positive, projection for people to achieve. It does change the dynamic of how they will act in their lives. They will generate a different reality, and also teaching people that they generate their reality. And it is literally, if someone wants to be lazy, allow them. Sometimes I just want to be lazy, right? Sometimes I just don't. I stop doing everything and not do anything.
Enjoy it. Do it well. You be lazy well. Yeah. Sometimes I take a hiatus, and I spend a lot of time sleeping and just doing cooking and doing things on an easy keel level. And that's something our body needs to regenerate. That's our body telling us, hey, take it slow right now. And especially because we're being bombarded with all these energies that are coming in from the sun and the galaxy right now. So, we're being bombarded with all of that. And there's a great deal of energy shifting going on. So it can really wear out your body. And a lot of people are not aware of it. You and I and all the people that are listening here, we're all very tuned into that because, we are those people. But yeah, but the ones that are out there that are still asleep, they don't have a clue. They don't know why they're being all riled up, or they don't know why they're shifting in back and forth between emotions, or just being lazy and you in that kind of a situation where you have to go out and make the rent. I'm very blessed right now because now I'm as long as the government stays afloat. And Social Security stays plugged in, then I can make my rent and I have enough to get by through. I'm not rich, but I enjoy what I do. The little bit of money I spent on paint, I got a lot out of it. You know what I'm saying? I live with it every day. It's my investment in me. It's not my investment in somebody else's property. It's my investment in me, in my state of mind. And I think that's what's important. And it's a matter of re-educating people when we get over this hump, when we get rid of some of this bad cabalish rascals that are out there right now. And once it starts weeding down more and we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, as far as getting the last, why can't we just take them off planet? That's what I want to know. Dan, why can't we just take them off planet?
Well,
they just don't belong here. They don't have to be adios, permanently. Just why do they have to be here? Can't they enjoy their own misery somewhere else altogether?
Yeah, I think that they don't like what we have here, so they can leave.
Okay? Well, I think that don't leave it to them to lead. Far be it from me to infringe on somebody's free will, but they don't even know what they will. They're mostly possessed. these folks.
Open up the kick them to the other side. Shut it.
Just kick them to the other side. Right. You don't have to give them right back to the source and pulverize them. We don't have to put them in. We don't even have to put them in jail, or just put them off planet. Let them play in their own planet. They can do all the harm to each other that they want. They'll have a blast. Let them have fun, and we can stay here and we can have fun on our planet. Just adios.
Right. Yeah, and this is the time that their time is over. They just don't want to let go because they don't know how. They literally, they can't see what's on the horizon, like the Indians on the shore looking at the pilgrims' boats.
Hmm.
They look at, they don't know what's coming, right? Because it's just
Hmm.
not in their reality. Their reality is they are the masters of the world, and that whatever
Yeah.
they say goes. And when they don't want money to flow in from the system, there, well, we just don't allow that to happen, and we threaten everyone that does. And plus, as the system starts changing beneath their feet, they just can't accept the reality. They're in denial,
Yeah.
and you know, some of them will finally switch. We heard some, and we've heard this, is that some of the people in the families are, the younger generation don't want to, participate. Right.
Hmm.
So, you know, but there is as I was mentioning with Tank yesterday, I was listening to this difference with Linda Moulton Howe talking
Mm.
about how the bloodlines were being traced back by the enthusiasts as well as the people looking through the bloodlines, and they both met back in the past, and they
Oh,
said,
right.
"Oh, we're researching the same thing." And she was saying, "Well, literally, the blue bloods have blue blood
Right.
because their blood is based in copper, and ours is
Right.
based in iron." And this is a time where if we're going to say, well, the blue bloods need to leave, right? The
Yeah. Put them
red
on a
blood.
big put them on a copper planet. They'll have a blast. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
they,
Well, that's
they
one of
can
the
do the
reasons why.
things that are fun to them.
They were. Its implication is that that they did terraforming, and this is also, they reveal everything that they do to us in the movies, and there's been some terraforming. Hey, they've terraformed Earth, to create it more hospitable for them, less hospitable for us.
Hmm.
But to have
Yeah.
a way where we can have more oxygen on the planet, so why
Yes.
not have more CO2 in the atmosphere so that we can grow more bigger plants that create more oxygen?
And there are technologies out there to enhance that too, for as far as plant growth and such.
Sure. Yeah.
It's sound technologies and light technologies. You know, so
Yeah, and we have we can create a world that's is more conducive to longer lifespans and cleaner. It's just we have to do it without the depopulation agenda. That's one thing that Tui had pointed out. When he was telling them in open discussions, don't wait on money from the UN, right? So you don't have to follow their depopulation agenda, right?
hmm.
So they're open discussion. Why are you doing this? Well, that's where we get the money. Well, stop it.
Well, the money's not coming anymore, so you don't have to. You can stop now. You don't have to do that. It's like absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to change our approach. But banks, we got to get rid of these banks. This has got to change. This is not a structure that's
Well,
livable. You know about banking. Kim knows
so
about banking. You know.
well, I don't. I'm not in favor of getting rid of banks, but the centralized banking system should go, and to literally, decouple the world from a centralized system is going to
Hmm.
allow every country to, in essence, stand up on its own and do as well as they can.
Yeah,
So,
but I'm talking about the banksters. We've got to get those. We've got to get those folks out of there.
yeah,
They're for nobody.
again, it's the reality. They know. They know everything about it. They're the ones that should be in charge because they know how the money works. And literally, they don't. Most of the people in it, they don't know really. That the money is drawn down by asset. They don't know that. They think that someone goes
Mm.
to a computer and types in, "Oh, we're going to create $1 billion in cash today." It doesn't happen that way, And it's not just because someone has the idea to do it. There's a functioning mechanism. But that system has been asleep since 2008, right? It doesn't get used too much.
Yeah.
And there's very few people in the system that know. But the rest of the people, the retail bankers out there, the bank managers, they don't understand. They just follow the handbook that they're given.
Yep.
So I'm not against banks. I'm against the system. But we could have banks that follow a different system. And if you picture in your mind what is supposed to a bank is for, right?
They're there to help you. They're there to help you, but they don't.
Well, okay, but how? What does that mean? You know, what does it mean? Now, for me, as a young businessman, when I first came into it, I started to play the game, right? How to work with the bank, and I generated a lot of business for the bank, and I expected the bank to be there for me when I needed a loan to expand a legitimate business enterprise. Right. They weren't at all.
That's not good business. You did good business for them. It should be reciprocated.
Exactly, but it doesn't function that way. So the bank should be there to participate in making bad loans, right? They should be able to make bad loans. It's okay if it doesn't work. The money went into the economy and it got circulated. It's okay that the banks don't get paid back.
Well, maybe it's just a matter of semantics, but you know, again, back to the word choices. But bad loan, they look at it as a loss. The big L, it's a loss for them, but it's not a bad loan. It's actually it was a successful loan because it made its way back into the system.
Yeah. So the looking at it's again the wordplay, the dynamics of how it's used is always to enhance their position of a centralized system. When you break that centralized system, then money that's moved out into the system, if you look at how far did it reach out, how far did it circulate? One of the other factors of an abundance-based system is why would you ever have to collect the cash back into the government? There's no reason for the government ever to accept money. They're making them.
Yeah, they're making them. So they just keep. Okay, that brings us back to the first point, which comes clear around to where we were talking about originally. Where does the bank get the original asset to make the money from?
So I look at it as two different ways. Well, one, there is the physical stuff that exists: the gold, the land, the trees, the things that are growing on the land, the people, even that is in the equation right now. But to take these players, these pieces, and reshuffle them to where the people are now literally the beneficiary, right? And the government is sending out, and it has to get to the hands of the people. The people end up using it to create businesses, or they're storing it, right? And then they can go and use it in other ways. But there will be a completely different kind. Will there be inflation? Of course, no problem. Let things rise. Doesn't matter. It's okay. And then if you want to every 10 years drop 6 zeros off of the accounting system, do it. It doesn't matter. The point is that we're dealing with an accounting system, and the beneficiary should end up being the people. So if we look at this in a way that allows for the governments to just be that source, and they never have to collect any money back, then no fees, no penalties. Yes, would you like a government that didn't penalize you?
Yeah.
Right. I'm not talking about penal meaning prison, right? So
no,
that there is a reason for having prisons. I'm not saying that there's not punishment for bad deeds. But if you removed all of the financial problems that are created from this system, we'd have a lot less people in prison. you know, a lot of things. If you want to say, well, what are most people in jail for now? Drugs,
Drugs.
right?
But
So if
why are they either they doing drugs because they got caught up in it, or they're doing it for the money? So it's
yeah,
one or the other.
or any of the 5 derivations of multiple universes of why things you end up in jail because of drugs doesn't matter. The point is that it shouldn't be a criminal issue. It's a
No,
health issue.
sociological. It's a health and a sociological issue. We should be able to take the people and put them in a healing center and heal them chemically, neurologically, without being invasive on them.
Logical and psychological reasons that they end up wanting to take drugs would vanish if they always were receiving money for everything that they were going out and moving out in the world and doing.
Right. Well, that would be a great incentive too. But it brings us back to the educational part, because once we get this world better, and we're going to see it in our lifetime. I know I'm going to see it in mine, and I'm a little older than you probably. So you'll see it in yours. But we're all going to see this world flip. This is history in the making. We're right here for it. But we made a contract to be here to help with this movement, and that's what we signed up for. But the whole point is that there is the educational approach to this, where we start our generations up with already knowing this knowledge, because they're coming in, Dan, they're coming in. These babies that you see and these young folks you see, they're already coming in fifth density. They're already coming in that way. You know, it's only by the time that they're 6 or 7 that we ruin them and they're not connected to the cosmos anymore. You know, but they're coming in already brilliant. So don't tamp that down. Don't kill that creativeness in them, but bring it out and let it flourish. And we have to start flipping our new generations to the positive and giving them what they need for nourishment.
Yeah, we're going to have an abundance of 5th generation or 5th dimensional, 5th element beings coming into the world right now, and because we need to show up right now, and that's why they are. Right. Also, maybe another reason why the war drums are beating right now, right? Because they want to out a bunch of potential threats to the system. So, hey, I want to say also we should start winding down. We've got about 20 minutes before Dank Live goes on. But I do appreciate you jumping on. And I invite you to come back anytime you feel like you'd like to come in. I don't mind. These points in the front lines are really about this is more than just these topics that I cover. Like I was going to cover Facebook and what happened there. So this is just an aspect of the battle, right? And but this is another front. This is how do we have our pincer movement, right? Because we come in and we bring in from this angle the abundance-based businesses, right? And the project
we have to build it as it's being torn down. We have to have that support there to build up the structure that we need for this new society, this new world, and we have to have that basically going into place as the other falls apart.
Yep, exactly.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, well let's end it here again. Hey, send me a message in Telegram, all right, and we'll chat there.
Well, I don't have your number in Telegram.
I'll just put it.
How would I do that?
You were in the chat.
I was in the chat room, the general chat room. Just put it in there.
You can see me there, and you can click on me.
Okay,
right? And then send me a message right from there.
Oh, okay. I'll do that.
Or if you want to go in the description down below in the video, there's my Telegram link right there.
No, no, I have the Telegram thing. I'm good with that.
All right.
That's how I got your link for the Hangouts. I thank you, sir, very much. It was a pleasure talking to you in in person, or as personable as we can be, screen to screen.
Screen here,
right? Screen to, there you go. High five you. And I don't do that. So you're one of the first. So a screen 5, I guess it is.
I wasn't actually high-fiving you, but
screen 5?
I was just touching the world.
Oh, you were.
That's kind of what I was going. So
Okay,
you're still
I'm developing a bruise right about here. Okay. Yeah. No. I was just saying I enjoyed it. Thank you so much. I was supposed to be on Tank's show today because we had scheduled it earlier in the week, but he had some other info to get out, and so they bumped me to next Tuesday. So I'll be doing the show with him on Tuesday if I don't get bumped again. But
that's all right. Yeah, there's a lot of they're really hammering on this stuff with Michelle Walker, and I think it's important.
Yeah, I know.
So I know, but right.
I couldn't find the show today, so I was calling in on the number. So that was the way I found the show before. So
they might have hit it. Anyway, oh well, there's probably more things we got to do. Anyway, they're going to be there should be actually a big social media blackout is rumored to be coming out in about a week. Wow. They literally will turn everything off. So because if the D class happens, they just have to, they want to just mute it. They just don't want, and they're going to try and position themselves before
they don't want folks to know the truth. They don't want the truth to get out. I hear you. Okay.
Well, the truth is about to be unsealed.
Yes, so, as David would say, yes.
David would say, David Zubrick, yes. Yeah, I like David Zubrick's stuff. And I know that there was a little, they had this back and forth with the people at Seavine. And I said, we all just have to get along together, right? And stop taking pot shots.
That's true.
Guys, the people that are trying to do something, support them, and even if things come up. Even when we had this last week, something that Thomas had said, mentioning me and mentioning Tank and something, and it was way blown out of proportion. It's we're all on the same page. We're all going the same direction with some, our own vibration and flavor. It's okay.
Yeah,
we can coexist. No problem.
Okay.
All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you,
see
sir.
you in about 15 minutes.
Okay. Goodbye from CASA Arturo. There it is.
Bye, CASA.
Starting to find my hand in this group. Okay. Thank you, sir. Talk to you again.